Murderapolis goes hard, dude.
David Easterwood is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE.
Bro, this guy's literally an Onion meme. Anti-ICE protesters protesting a pastor that is an ICE official, which, by the way, I don't even understand how that works. How the can you be a pastor and also work for ICE at the same time? How is that even possible? You will pet me, whether you like it or not. Canada, here is a little taste of that on the domestic home front here. 2 battalions put on alert for possible Minneapolis deployment. Trump wants to do an Insurrection Act in Minneapolis, also known as Somaliapolis, also known as Murderapolis. Okay? Shut up, stop saying it. You should be more worried if I say it won't happen, judging by my performance so far on my predictions this year. Okay? You should be thankful that I'm saying it's going to happen, haha, as a joke. Except on the one hand, while my predictions have not been so great this year so far, anytime I joke, those things do turn into predictions. So, it's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation. Greenland was promised to the Somalis 3,000 years ago. Yeah. So, yeah, we got the Minnesota deployment potentially. And apparently Trump is not happy about how much attention is on ICE. Trump seemingly recognizing that videos of ICE looking like an occupying force in Minnesota are turning public opinion against the operation. In Minnesota, there's too much media attention on ICE, who have removed some of the worst murderers and criminals in the world, people let into our country by crooked Joe Biden's horrendous open border policy, and not enough attention being paid to the staggering sums of money stolen from the state by corrupt Minnesota politicians, President DJT. I love that he just says it, too. He's like, hey, don't look at this. Look at this other thing that I want. It's like he's giving notes to his cult. You know how Republicans like to use that chip as a joke, like the gray scale guy who's like, oh, we substituted anger around, liberals substitute their anger around this to this thing, like a robot with a new chip placed, like the NPC meme. That is unironically how Republicans are. Like, that is literally how Republicans are. And this is Donald Trump swapping out the chip in real time. Okay? He's like, don't pay attention to ICE. Or if you're going to pay attention to ICE, focus on all the murderers that they're taking off the streets. Jonathan Ross is no longer in Minneapolis, okay? Because he was a murderer, but it's good. That was a good murder, but we took at least one murderer off the street. He's not going to prison, of course, because he's brave and beautiful. He did a good murder. That's the good kind of murder. Anyway, let's take a look.
Ross and more on Good, her conduct, and possible ties to activist groups. Also facing scrutiny, the city and state's top Democratic leaders, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, under investigation, sources say, for allegedly obstructing law enforcement activities in the state. Frey telling ABC News that he and Walz have done nothing wrong, but suspects they are being targeted for speaking out against the administration.
There are other countries where you get put away for the things that you say. There are other countries where you get investigated for saying something that runs counter to what the federal government states. But in this country, it's not that way.
And new this morning.
That's a funny snap cut right back to a bomb.
As the government cracks down in Minneapolis, attorneys for some of those detained tell us they're being denied their constitutional right to legal counsel. 4 separate attorneys telling ABC News ICE denied their request to meet their clients inside the federal building after they were arrested. One lawyer saying ICE told them, if we let you see your clients, we would have to let all the attorneys see their clients, and imagine the chaos. Attorney Robert Sicoli says he was denied access to his client as well.
It is a violation of the constitutional rights. You have a right to an attorney, and just because they have a system set up that doesn't accommodate that, there's nothing in the Constitution that talks about accommodating the government.
Now, DHS denied those claims, saying that all detainees receive due process and access to counsel, but all 4 attorneys that we spoke to said that that denial is an outright lie, citing their own personal experiences as proof.
Yeah, still a volatile situation there in Minneapolis. Matt Rivers, thank you.
So the DOJ is currently investigating after anti-ICE activists stormed a church.
So this is the big meta in Murderapolis today. Conservatives are looking for something to grab onto so they could shift the attention away from, ICE being a threatening Gestapo force on U.S. soil with the Insurrection Act imminent, or at least the threat of the Insurrection Act. So they decided that this is going to be the new thing. They're subbing out the chip for this thing, okay? Apparently, from what I understand, there were anti-ICE protesters protesting a pastor that is an ICE official, which, by the way, I don't even understand how that works. How the can you be a pastor and also work for ICE at the same time? How is that even possible? But anyway, yeah, they did a protest inside of a church, and every conservative is like, this is a violation of the FACE Act. Don Lemon, you're going to hell and prison. Before you go to hell, you're going to prison. So, you know, Leviticus 1933, Leviticus 1488. No hate like Christian love. That's why. Anyway, let's take a look.
St. Paul over a pastor's alleged ties to ICE, or they thought he had ties to ICE.
Now, this comes as 1,500 soldiers are now on standby, ready to deploy amid growing protest in the state.
Just so uncalled for, the church incident. Matt Finn is live in Minneapolis with the latest. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Ainsley. Those protesters walked into that church service, started screaming chants for Renee Good, who is the woman who was shot by ICE earlier this month, getting into churchgoers' faces, all because they say one of the pastors works for ICE.
You are a fake pastor. You are ridiculous. Stand up, fight back.
The demonstration organizer told Don Lemon, a former news anchor who was following the protesters, that it was a clandestine operation meant to disrupt a, quote, key location. One video appears to show a protester inside the church calling the churchgoers comfortable white people and shouting, "You have your nice jewelry. What do you do to stand with your Somali community?" Now, so far, we have not seen Minnesota Governor Tim Walz or Minneapolis Mayor.
Okay, so here is what they were doing. A pastor here is also the director of the field office for ICE. So someone teaching people about God is out here overseeing ICE agents. How dare you? Murderapolis goes hard, dude.
David Easterwood is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. So someone who claims to worship God, teaching people in this church about God, is out there overseeing ICE agents. Think about what we've experienced. The murder of Renee Good at the hands of ICE. A Venezuelan national shot by ICE. A 6-month-old baby who almost died as a result of ICE unleashing military-grade weapons on our community. How dare you claim to be a pastor of God and you are involved in evil in our community?
Do you think Jesus would be understanding?
We're about worship
these folks.
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them?
No church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. Yeah. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
Bro, this guy's literally an onion meme. Conservatives say Renee Good was brainwashed by Bible into loving thy neighbor. Yeah, what do you mean? That's what he's preaching. This person responds, they sure don't look like money changers, you bellend. Also, by bellend, I assume this person is not even American. Yet another one of these things. Dude, this is my new meta, okay? I am seeking out like a heat-seeking missile every single Euroid MAGA LARPer, okay? I swear to God, there are so many of them. There are so many. I think Americans are more mad, by and large, about ICE presence in their neighborhoods than these Euroid MAGA LARPers, okay? I'm sorry. I don't care if this account says it's actually stationed in the United States of America. If you say Bellend, you're not American, okay? Their pastor is the regional director of ICE. Find a new church or admit you're not Christian. Well, they're not. They're not Christian. No American has ever said Bellend. No American. That's not a term we use.
You will pet me, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not.